Well, hello, everybody. This is the day that the Lord hath made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. I'm Dr. Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the coaching community, the Book Business Bosses, where we help you get your message to the masses, turn your words into wealth, and become a book business boss. Now, in the bottom, depending on how you're facing it, when you are hearing it, all of my contact information is located at solo.to Julia A. Royston. That's SOLO. Put a dot there, a T is in Tom, another O, and then the / Julia A. Royston. Put two A's in the middle. And when you get there, is a one-page website of sorts. It has my face on it. And there's my email there. All of my contact information is there. My social media handles are all there, as well as my online stores and all my websites. So everything's there at solo.to / Julia A. Royston. And if you would like to have a conversation with me about writing or business or taking your book to the next level, go to talkwithroyston.com. That's talkwithroyston.com. So, our conversation today is going to be about know or grow. We've been talking about utilizing your gifts. Last week, we talked about putting up boundaries and putting up limits. But now it's time to look at sometimes there's boundaries and limits that have to be put up, but then some other times there's time for us to, old folks used to say, put up or shut up. But we're talking about know or grow. So let's just take a step back. So in 2007, God told me to put my first book together, my notebooks, and said, it's time for you to put your book together. I'm like, what book? He said, those notebooks you've been running around moving from city to city. I said, okay. And so 2008, the book launched. It was my first book of poetry. It was Inspirations for Divine Living. I did a solo concert. Shout out to Joe Logan, who was the musician, and we had it at a restaurant that doesn't even exist anymore. There are people were there who have gone on to glory, including my cousin Jesse Harris, who was there. So a lot has transpired since 2008. But after that book was launched, I had several people ask me, so how did you do it? And I'm like, well, yeah, I went back through the history, but they didn't, I thought they were asking so they could buy the book. No, they wanted me to help them publish their own book. And so for about a year and a half, year or two, I said no. I kept saying no. Remember, we're talking about know or grow. And I really did say no, because I only established the company for my books. I really was only interested in writing my own books. I had no interest at all to help anyone else. I was okay with maybe I could teach you how, but publishing somebody else, no. Until I kept saying no. Until Cheryl Turner came to me, and her book of poetry was called Yield. It still is, and it's available on Amazon.com. Her book was a book of poetry. And she was like, no, I don't want to learn. No, I don't want you to teach me. I want to pay you to publish my book. And I was like, oh. I mean, that was the crossroads. I like Cheryl. She was cool people, and still is to this day. And we're still friends to this day. But I still was a little hesitant, because it's one thing to do your own, but then it's one thing, it goes to a whole nother level when somebody pays you to conduct a service. And so that's really kind of rule number one in business. How serious are you going to take it? What does your character do? Are you just in it for the money? Or are you in it for to help other people? And of course, I was flattered by the money, but more than anything else, I was taking seriously the task that had been given to me. And when somebody is going to pay me for a task, that takes it all the way to another level, all the way to the roof and beyond. As they say, to the moon and beyond. It takes it all the way there. And so I said yes. or I could have said no. It was my prerogative. There was nothing deterring me from saying no and just continuing to write my own books. Nothing stopping me. I didn't hear a word from the Lord. The Lord didn't tell you, thus saith the Lord, Cheryl Turner is coming to you and your business is going to. No, I didn't hear none of that. It was a clear-cut decision of mine. Now, do I believe that God used Cheryl Turner? Sure. But he didn't give me no instructions. He didn't, and I guess, my thing is I really didn't think to ask him. And that, that's the fault of mine. That's a transparent, real place for me. But I always tell people, when they ask me, so how'd you get started? The game came to me. Clearly, the business, the client, the money came to me. But I still had to say no, yes, or grow. Now, I could have just stopped with that one person, Cheryl Turner, period, and said, oh no, she's the only one. She was an easy client. We had a contract, very cryptic, but we had one at the time. We had an agreement about how much she was going to pay. She paid it. I delivered a book, but she had 2 book signings. And that's where it really took off. We had a lot of people at both book signings, and she introduced me as her publisher. She didn't introduce me as, oh, Julia helped me put the thing together. And no, she introduced me at both events as her publisher. So then that was lesson number 2. I officially became her publisher, which other people, after they purchased the book, wanted me to be their publisher. So we went from 1 client that we had no idea that we were going to get to 3 to more, etc. So therefore, after the first client and then the second and third and so on, now we're at 250 and 350 books. I had to first off take examination. I had to examine my skill set. I had to examine I already have been in public service my whole life. I've always been in service, whether it's as a librarian, helping my dad in church ministry. I've always had service-oriented jobs, period. How can I help you? How can I serve you? What do you need? How can I do research for it? What information do you need? How can I help you? It's always been my words, and I still do it to this day. When people call me or people reach out to me, we have an appointment, and that's the first thing I say is, how can I help you? Because I know that's who I am. That's just my makeup and what I do. So I had to take an examination of, okay, this is something I do, and I need to always be in learning mode, but this is something I do pretty well. I love books. I don't have any problem with that piece. And, I'm going to have to go back to school. So I had to take an examination of my life, what I did and what it meant to my house, what it meant to potentially, I didn't even have, people say, what is your sales numbers and what is your growth numbers and what? I have none of that. I had 1 client. I had 1 person who took a chance on me and I took a chance on them. And that was it. But I had to eventually take an examination. I've learned some hard lessons, some hurtful, painful lessons, some great and exciting and thrilling lessons, some great successes. But I had to take some hard examination looks at myself. I also had to evaluate, did I have what it would take? So I had to examine, talked over with my husband at the time and, say, what do you think? He was like, is it going to bring money in? Y'all know, if you know Brian Royston, that's what he would be talking about. Is it going to bring money in? Yeah, do it. Yeah, you can do it. You did your own book, whatever. But I had to really evaluate. So sometimes it's an examination of what you already have in your hand. And then you have to have an evaluation of, so did you like it? Did I do a good job? What that looks like. And then number 3, you have to do some experimentation. I had to learn how to, my first book was poetry. Her book was poetry. Okay. I got that down. But what happens when somebody's book is fiction and then somebody's book is nonfiction? And then I had to learn about children's. And then I had to learn about, autobiographical books. And then I had to learn about, you know, paperback and then ebook and then hardback. And then, I knew the formats, but formatting them for myself when somebody's paying me, that was a lot of learning that had to go into play. And I had to, I'll be honest with you, look at some books and learn some layouts. I have a specific layout that I usually use, but some people want it a little bit more creative, and borders and page holders and just all kinds of things. And what happens when you have to cite sources and biblical references and and what pictures can you use, what pictures can't you use. So it's a lot of experimentation. There's a lot of examination saying, okay, yes, I want to move forward. But then there's a lot of experimentation, letting, understanding what the process looks like. And, and nope, that didn't work. Yep, that did work. Ooh, I could do that better. And then you have to decide, in the whole learning process, eventually, where I am now, it's become expansion and growth in what I do, how I do it, my systems and everything in order, or will it eventually be extinction? Because if I don't keep up with the latest, greatest, what's out there, what's going on in the field and in the industry that I'm in, I will be extinct. Ask Blockbuster. Ask Periscope. Ask, some other things that we, MySpace, that we thought, ooh, this is so great. And it's no longer in existence. It's extinct. So I think, for us all, for our learning today is know or grow. If you say yes, you've got to be ready for the challenge of growth. You've got to be ready for, as we said last week, for your limits, boundaries, and where we're at limitations. But then you've got to be ready for, if it continues to keep moving, where do you stop? How much growth can you handle? How much expansion can you handle? How much innovation can you handle? And will you finally say no more, or will you continue to grow? And that's left up to you to decide. I can't tell you, oh, you've got to have 8 figures, or you've got to have 6 figures. Or if you can just make $10 a day or $100 a week or $1,000 a month. I mean, that might be growth for you, especially when we started off as 0. But you got to determine what that looks like and what that is like for you and for me. I'm doing that even now in my business. Where does growth happen? Can I take on more? Do I have resources to take on more? Or is this my limit? Or is that, I was meeting with somebody who's in business as well, and they were like, well, if I went to this price point, if I did had these many clients, what would it do? What would, how would it expand me money wise? But what would it be taxing for me workload wise? There's a lot of things. We think of growth and expansion is all about, yay, the money. You love that. But you've got to make sure that, that in addition to the money, you're able to handle customer service, or you're able to handle the intake that it's going to take, follow up, being able to get products and services mailed out in a timely manner. You got to decide that. But one of the things that my talk is really not to scare you into, I'm just not going to do nothing. No, you have to make a decision. And an indecision is still a decision. It's still a decision all in all. And additionally, one of the things that I love about entrepreneurship in the know or grow is I decide. I determine. And even if it's a decision that I make that doesn't turn out quite as well as I would have liked, it's not a failure. It doesn't turn out as quite as I like. I still learned a lesson, and I still have the beauty of saying, I decided, I determined, I made the decision, I made the investment, I took the risk and it turned out this way, or I didn't take the risk and it didn't turn out that way at all. When I die, when it's all over and when it's said and done, I have the beauty of knowing that I will not have lived in regret, because I'm going for it. I am living my best life. So know or grow. It'll require you to stretch. It'll require you to expand. But at least you'll know what your full capacity is. My principal said that we need to work at capacity. I knew that was meant, you're not going to get any more money, but it's going to stretch every area. Have you ever had a bag or you ever had a box and, so that things don't jiggle around or you have any problem of breakage, you usually feel every hole, every space. So if you're, even when I ship books, if there's a possibility of room at the top, I usually have to get some paper to put inside of it, even if it's, brown paper bags or whatever I've got, or filler paper, so that it will expand and be all the way filled all the way to the top. So I believe God is trying to fill us all the way to the top, to not leave us half empty or half full, or we want to be filled to capacity. We want to be able to expand all our gifts and talents and abilities full to capacity. So are you going to say no? Or are you going to grow? I hope that helps you today. I hope that encourages you to say, I'm going for it. I hope that encourages you to say, I'm scared. I'm shaking in my shoes. My knees are clanging together. I can hear them, but I'm going for it. I'm doing it. I have several things this year that if the Lord hadn't come, I really, as they say, put my money out there, put my mouth out there, put my motivation, put my body out there, put my books out there, and I'm going for it. And, I may be a little nervous. I may be a little, a little fearful. I might be having my fingers crossed behind my back, but I'm going for it. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to be walking fear or walking hesitancy if it was within my power to do. I'm not making risks that, my lights won't be turned on when I get home, or I won't have any food in the refrigerator. It's not that kind of party. I'm not going to do that, and Brian Royston's not going to let me do that. But there are some risks that are worth taking, and I'm willing to do that, and I'm willing to go for it. So I hope you do too. So are you going to say no, or are you going to say, let's go and let's grow? I hope that helps you. I hope that inspires you to say no or grow and make that determination. Only you can do that. I can advise you, I can encourage you, but only you can do that. Only you can make that determination to say no or go or grow, or and for your life and for your business and for your career. Because, as I state, coming up at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we want to live our best life. It's heard every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on envision-radio.com. It can be heard on the website, or go to simpleaudacitytuner.com, mytuner, radio.garden, Get Me Radio, Media U, or download on, if you're Android, Team Android, yay, Google Play Store, and download the free Envision Radio app and listen for phenomenal programming and excellent music. Coming up on February 27th, the last Sunday in February of 2022. Oh my goodness. 2022 is a special guest, Miss Vanessa Miller, who is releasing a book, and please purchase it. As purchase all of my guests who have books, but it's called Something Good. It's fiction, and it's a wonderful interview. So tune in, go right over to envision-radio.com and hear that wonderful interview with Miss Vanessa Miller, who is an author and an entrepreneur. She is the coordinator and leader of the Christian Book Lovers Retreat, which I've had the privilege of being a part of. So be sure and listen in on the information, as well as purchase her up and coming release of something good. We're really striving to help push her over the top. She wants to be a USA Today bestseller. So whatever I can do to lend my voice and lend my platform for those goals for authors, go for it. I say make it happen. So envision-radio.com, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Live Your Best Life, hosted by me. And then stay tuned. Don't go anywhere else. At 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is Mr. Spike Davis and Friends show. Tune in, be sure and tune in, stay tuned for Last Music and More. He always has some wonderful guests and some phenomenal inspirational music as well, to help you get started on your week and definitely be blessed on your day. So do you know that the Book Business Boss, we have established a book club. So if you're ready, you still got time. We're not going to be meeting until March 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you got time to get your book and begin reading that phenomenal story, which is Irma, book 3 of the Women of the Fellowship series. So go to the bookbusinessbossbookclub.com. On March 8th, we'll be announcing what the next month's book club is. And then also, of course, we have a private Facebook group that you can be a part of too. And did I mention it's free? It's free to be a part of the Book Business Boss Book Club. So visit the website, bookbusinessbossbookclub.com. Also, bkroystonfoundation.org. We're about to give away our third scholarship, our second nurse scholarship, our third scholarship period. We've given away a nursing scholarship for an HBCU student. We have given away a publishing scholarship to a gentleman in Africa, Mr. Daniel Titus. And so we're getting ready to give our third scholarship to another HBCU nursing student. So the application opens March 8th. That's March 8th, 2022. The application process will be open. So we'll be getting more information to you. If you know of an HBCU nursing student who would like to have $500 to help them on their journey and help them on their way, finish school, as well as if you would like to donate, go to bkroystonfoundation.org and click on the big donate button and help us as we help others. Now, also, the Book Business Boss Show, episode number 8, will come up on Tuesday, March 1st at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right there on envision-radio.com. Episode 8, we're always talking about writing and books and taking our books to the next level. So if you know of an author who is struggling and needs some encouragement, or somebody who hasn't written a book at all, tune in to the Book Business Boss Show, heard every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I trust that helps you today and blesses you along your way. Remember, if you're interested in publishing a book and you need to have a conversation with me, go to talkwithroyston.com and be blessed. And decide this week, am I going to keep saying no? Or am I going to finally turn around and grow? Be blessed. Have an awesome day.